What is EDC? It's more than just an acronym for everyday carry. It's one small aspect of what should be a larger system of preparation. It's not an expectation of trouble or disaster, but an acknowledgement of the possibility. It's not a statement of rebellion against the system that should, in a perfect world, have all the necessary protections in place for you. It's a statement of self-sufficiency, meaning I can take care of myself if the system fails to do so. What's up, everybody? This is No More Off 4. If you're new to my channel, basically I put out videos relating to gun, gear reviews, bushcraft, hunting, anything that has to do with self-sufficiency. Please feel free to check out the channel, rate, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. So today what we're going to be talking about is EDC, or everyday carry, and situational awareness. Now, these two topics can very quickly turn into a discussion on self-defense, as they coincide quite a bit, but that's really a topic deserving a video, or more likely a whole series unto itself. So specifically, we're going to talk about today some of the EDC items that I use, as well as some considerations you yourself may want to make. So let's get into it. Alright, so I'm not going to mess around here. I'm going to jump right into it. First thing we're going to look at item-wise is firearm. What I carry personally is a Car PM9. The self-defense round that I use are Federal's 124 grain Hydroshock 9mm self-defense rounds. You can see that previously reviewed if you've got questions on that gun. When it comes to firearms or knives, which we'll get to shortly, everyday carry, or EDC, can very quickly shift focus from preparedness based to self-defense. And again, that's not what we're going to discuss here. If you make the decision to carry a firearm, there are several priorities you may want to address before you start, and these are just my own recommendation I'm going to throw out. One, obviously make sure you're in compliance with your local and state regulations and laws. Know how your firearm works. Understand how it functions, how to disassemble it, how to reassemble it, how to clear malfunctions, and also get some serious range time with it. Going to the range once a year and shooting a 50 box is not going to make you as skilled with the self-defense gun that you're carrying every day as you optimally should be or should want to be. On that note, understand your ability with the firearm. What you shoot on the bench rest is not going to equate to what you will shoot under stress. There are many ways to practice for this. USPSA, IDPA, both good options. I compete in USPSA myself. Another thing to consider, maybe take a structured course. Whether you're new to firearms or you have years of experience with them, formal training by a certified instructor does three things for you at the very least. One, it's going to keep you up to date with trends, politics, discussions as it relates to the firearm world. You'll familiarize yourself with maybe some new laws or regulations you may have been unaware of. Another thing, it's going to introduce you to local people that share the same interests as you, and that's a good thing. And three, maybe even most important, having formal training from a certified instructor shows responsibility on your part. Hopefully you never have to find out, but that would be viewed as a positive thing if you ever did have to clear your holster and discharge your firearm. The last thing you want to be viewed as is a vigilante with a weapon. And I'm not saying that's required, and it's not required by law. I'm just saying, as a recommendation, that's going to benefit you should you ever have to draw your weapon down on someone. Obviously, you want to make sure you're practicing with your firearm. As I said before, shooting once a year is not enough repetition to keep you sharp. Another thing to consider, not really because the ammunition's going to go bad, more so just to be familiar with it, is rotate your self-defense ammunition, inspect and clean the firearm and magazines. It's up against your body, sweat, humidity, all the nasty stuff, can get into the gun just from wearing and carrying it every day. So you want to just keep an eye on everything, make sure quality is not deteriorating. Now, what I carry my Car PM9 with is a crossbreed Mini Tuck Deluxe. You've probably seen these all over the internet, and I've got to say so far, I am really impressed with this. I did opt for the more expensive horsehide as opposed to, I guess, the regular leather that they use. And I did get, I believe they're called the J hooks. I didn't really like the cross. Not that I'm against Jesus, but I just didn't like the way that it's shown on the belts that I wear. It made it a little bit more obvious. Not that, you know, 95 out of 100 people are going to look at that and say, I don't know what the hell that is, or not even register that it's a, you know, it's a holster to carry concealed. But make sure whatever holster you use is cared for. I've also got some belly bands here. This one I purchased, this one I made myself. I'm going to go over these probably in a separate video today if I can knock it out, but let's continue on here, not get caught up. Just make sure to inspect this. Like I said, keep it clean. It holds your protection. Care for the product as the manufacturer recommends. You know, just some little leather conditioner will keep that nice. Inspect for damage. I can see that this has gotten a little bit loose since the last time I took it off, so I will have to tighten that. There's an example right there. Back to the Firearm. As an extra magazine, that's definitely something that you want to have with you. Now, this only has one bullet in it because I was just shooting with this gun. Just didn't have any more space in this one. But extra magazine, pretty self-explanatory. If your gun has a smaller capacity, it's probably going to be warranted. Now, if you've got a self-defense handgun that's got high cap, no, I shouldn't say high capacity, I should say normal capacity, you know, 15, 16, 17, maybe 19 XD, Springfield XD M. You know, if you're using a gun like that, maybe you don't need an extra magazine. If you need an extra magazine with 20 bullets, you probably need a better place to live. Ammo considerations. Obviously, the ammo that you carry for self-defense is not going to be the same as target shooting. I did cover this already. I'd recommend specific self-defense loads. These are usually hotter, plus P, plus P+. They have increased penetration and are typically more reliable because they're loaded under more strict quality control than target ammo is. But that's my recommendation there. It's going to shoot a little bit differently again. Can't stress that enough. Next item we're going to look at, SOG Flash 2 Tanto. Now, I'm just kind of a sucker for Tantos, but you can have any type of blade that you like. Very easy, assisted opening, SOG technology, has a lock on it. You know, pretty quick with that. Nice knife. The pocket holder was a little tight. I had to loosen mine. Your mileage is going to vary on that depending on maybe what type of clothes you wear. How tight you like yours to be. I like mine to be in the pocket solid, but not so solid that I need to hold my jeans to be able to pull the blade out. Good knife's essential for more than just cutting tasks that you may come throughout your day. It's a great backup in case your firearm goes down or if you're out of all your rounds, just to have a secondary option. As with a firearm, you should know how to operate the blade, like if it has an assisted opening. One-hand drawing and activating are also important. And you also should practice and be able to do that with your reaction side hand. So if you're right-handed, you should be able to know how to draw your knife just like you should know how to draw your pistol. And you should be able to actuate that with your weak hand, your reaction hand. You never know where your other hand may be caught up. Again, when it comes to the knives, know your local laws and follow those, obviously. One thing here, I just wanted to say, don't be stupid. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. This is just my personal opinion, but if someone threatens me in my immediate area with deadly force, I'm going to respond with equal or greater force, greater if possible. someone draws a knife on me and threatens to kill me, I'm not going to draw my knife, even if I do have it, and have a West Side Story dance-off with the person. If I've got my handgun, I'm going to draw that. This doesn't mean I'm going to shoot as soon as I draw, unless they're in the process of doing harm or attempting to me or someone else in the immediate area. You know, priority, I want to create a safe distance to allow myself to get a clean draw. If possible, demand the aggressor drop his weapon, kick it away, lie on the ground, go through that whole rigmarole. Again, getting into self-defense more so than the EDC. But that's something to consider. That's one of the considerations you'll have to make before you decide to carry a firearm or a knife for self-defense purposes. Now, one point I did want to discuss on the firearm piece, mental preparation as it relates to using the firearm. The decision to carry a firearm for self-defense really is not one to be taken lightly. There's a significant responsibility that comes with this choice. So a solid understanding of local and state laws and regulations, things like that, is something that should be known, because I didn't know I couldn't do that isn't a solid legal defense. And it gives people that do carry responsibly a bad name. As I said before, this is not legal advice or anything like that, nor are there laws, at least in my state, that require you to pass some sort of training to carry concealed. But I'd recommend some formal training if you're new to firearms, as well as significant time at the range with the intended carry gun before you actually carry. Everyone has a legal right to carry, and I'm 110% in support of the Second Amendment, but don't be stupid. There are so many anti-gunners out there in the political world, in the news world. Don't do something stupid and give them ammunition that fucks the rest of us. Like I said, everybody's got the right to carry. Don't ruin it for everybody else by being irresponsible. Keep in mind, when you choose to carry a firearm, your actions are representing more than just yourself. Additionally, you should ask yourself if you've got the mental fortitude to do what has to be done should you ever have to clear your holster. Now, nobody knows for sure how they're going to react in a life or death situation. Thank God I've never had to draw my gun on anyone. It's not something cool. It's not. I'm not one of those people out there that talks big, like, oh yeah, if someone fucks with me, I can't wait to pull my gun out on somebody. I hope to God it never happens. But it's something you've got to think about. And if you're hesitant now about whether or not you're able to do that, then maybe you shouldn't carry a firearm. Maybe you should carry something like a non-lethal or less lethal alternative like pepper spray, for example. Once you get past deciding if you are capable of discharging your firearm in self-defense, you should also run through some scenarios just in your head of whether or not you should actually discharge it, just for mental exercise purposes. So for example, are you capable of hitting the target at its current distance? If not, then are you far enough away from it that maybe you should run? Like I said, can you hit what you'll be aiming at, and are there other people around? Might somebody else be injured or worse if you miss? You also got to think about what kind of firearm it is that you have. What kind of damage is it going to do if you miss? What kind of damage is it going to do if you're aiming true? Maybe is it possible that there are other threats around that you haven't identified yet? And if so, what's the likelihood that they're also armed? So there's a lot of scenarios, and there's too many scenarios for you to even cover, but these are the types of mental exercises, good food for thought, and it can prepare you better for if something ever should go wrong. I hope it doesn't, but I just want to put that out there. I think it's something that people need to think about a little bit more. Alright, just wanted to run through some of the smaller items here real quick too. Cell phone, obvious purpose. Car keys, bottle opener. I've also got a flashlight on here. It's magnetized. I really liked it. It is a small flashlight, and I'm not one of those people that carries a big flashlight in their pocket. Just in general, I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to this kind of thing. Now, my system, the way I have things set up, is I'm always very close to my get home bag and everything that I've got in there. So I've got a big flashlight in there. I've got a headlamp. I've got some additional items in there, and I know the argument to that is, well, you might not be able to make it back to your car. Yes, okay, we're not talking about shit hits the fan scenario here, but hopefully what I have here will get me to my car, which has more gear in it, which will get me to my house, which has a lot more gear in it. So that's just me. That's my personal philosophy. You've got to fit in your pants too, so don't be loaded down with 10 pounds of extra shit that you're never going to use. This minimalist will get me through to what I got to get to. Where did I leave off? I don't know. Lighter, obviously. Go Steelers. Watch, in case the phone dies. And wallet. Now, one thing I did want to say about the wallet, carry cash on you. You never know when you're going to need cash. Not so much that you're going to feel bad if you lose it, but enough to get you, if you have to get a cab or something, you get stranded somewhere, enough to get you from wherever you might be to home is usually a good idea. I usually carry 60 bucks. I'm okay with losing that, not that I try to, but, don't keep 1,000 in your wallet. Just me personally. One other thing, you can carry rope if you're into wearing the paracord bracelets. That's on you. They're useful. Personally, I don't need rope in most day-to-day applications. If I'm in the woods, that's different. If I'm in the woods, I'm always going to have some rope on me, but just day-to-day, I don't usually carry it. I probably should, with as cheap as just those little paracord bracelets are. Tie a tourniquet, whatever. It's probably a good idea. I just haven't really gone overboard with that. Condoms, always got to be prepared. But yeah, I mean, if you've got a medical condition, you may have to carry like an inhaler. You may want to carry that, obviously, if you have asthma. But that's really it for the miscellaneous items. Now I want to get into talking about some more theory-based things. So the first theory-based thing that I wanted to discuss today was knowing the difference between when it's time to bug out and when it's time to spit on your hands, hoist the black flag, and start cutting throats. There's millions of scenarios, and you can go play that game on any number of forums on the internet. Be ready for a lot of bullshit there, but all I can say is that there are circumstances where it's smarter and safer for you to get yourself and those around you out of harm's way, and there are circumstances when the only choice is to hold your ground. You've got to make the best judgment on which is which. One thing, and we did cover it briefly, is know how to use your hands, and what I mean by that is just have an understanding of some self-defense, some basics even. No need to join an underground bare-knuckle boxing match or become an MMA fighter or anything like that, but an entry-level course in self-defense. Never hurt anybody except maybe for some bad guys. But judo and jiu-jitsu are great disciplines for even if you have a smaller stature, because the type of techniques that they use, takedowns, joint locking, chokeholds, those can be applied to everybody, and you use their own weight or their own size against them. If they're bigger than you, it can be applied to everybody. So again, not what we're going to talk about here, but that is something to consider. Probably the most important weapon not to leave home without is your mind. And situational awareness is what I wanted to talk about here. Again, that's just a fancy word for paying attention to what the hell is going on. It's an easy thing to do, easy to maintain. Pay attention to your external environment, how it's changing or how it may change around you. Don't get caught off guard when you should be paying attention. So don't tunnel vision yourself into your cell phone when you're walking home late at night or walking up to your car in an empty parking garage, something like that. person entirely preoccupied in something else is a prime target for someone to get the jump on and take advantage of them being unprepared. Now, I know life gets busy and it's easy to get caught up in it, but the times you don't want that to happen are when you're in a situation placing yourself at higher risk. So, for example, being on the wrong side of town after dark, whatever. Know where you are in relation to where you're going, maybe even another way to get there if the planned way looks a little less welcoming than you'd like it to be. In a world where common sense seems to be less and less common, try to exercise some when it's your ass that's on the line. So that's it for me today, guys. I know that was kind of a very broad stroke of EDC and situational awareness, but to be honest, there's just so many different scenarios and so many different things to consider. It's impossible for me or anyone to go over every scenario. And to try would just be an hour video of a lot of bullshit, to be honest. That being said, if you do have a specific question for me, feel free to ask me. And I can tell you there's plenty of forums online where you can go and spend your whole day talking about this kind of stuff. And you can get into the whole shit hits the fan scenario thing, but I'm just talking about being prepared, having a plan, discussions on local things that you might want to keep in mind. It's important to do that if you're going to make the decision to carry some of the things I've shown you today. So, that being said, again, if you have questions, please let me know. As always, rate, subscribe, comment to my channel. I do appreciate the support. And until next time, guys, this is No More Op 4. Stay safe. I'm out.